All right, we should be live. Can you guys hear me? Oops, I forgot to turn off my AC. Hold on a second. Hold on a second. All right, now we're live. Can you guys hear me all right? Hi, Colbert. Oh my goodness, I'm so glad to see you. We are Instagram buddies. It's cool to see you here. Hi. All right. I think we'll wait. We could wait a couple of minutes till a few more people show up. I know I'm super punctual. I like to be on time to everything. So I'm very, very, very punctual, I guess. But I like to make sure that I'm coming on right at 6, but I know some people, they can't make it right at that time, and that's fine. Auntie Julie, good to see you. I also saw someone else here is from Minnesota. Valerie. Cool, very cool. I'm originally from Minnesota, so it's cool to see someone else from Minnesota. Very cool. Hello from everyone. All right, Lena's going to be our moderator again. So if anybody throws out random questions, she can help with that. Or, she'll just be here being my second pair of eyes, which is very nice. And if you have any questions for me, let's see. I think I figured this out last time, but you can start a Q&A. Let's see. What happens if I click that? All right. Well, I clicked start Q&A. I'm not really sure how that shows up on your screen, but if you have any questions, you can throw that in there. And I think those will show up more prominently for me to see questions. So yeah, that's a good idea, Lena. If you have a question, put like a bunch of question marks at the beginning and then write your question. And that will my eye will catch that. So, but I think we should just hop right into our project today, because last time I just talked the whole time. So today I am going to be working on the Gingham Square Dance quilt. This is my free pattern that I released. And if you would like this, I do believe I put a link to this in the description box for this video. And it's also in the description box of my last couple of videos also, if you missed that. But it's a really fun, super quick pattern. The finished quilt is going to be a 60-inch square, and it only uses 3 fabrics. And it's really cute, and it's really fun and quick to make because we're going to be using some strip piecing methods. So that's going to help the time go by faster, or to make it quicker, whatever. However you want to word it. But, all right. Kim, thank you for coming. Thank you for coming and saying hi. All right. So I've got, for this pattern, you need 3 fabrics, like I said. I like to use a dark, a medium, and then a light colored fabric. And you can use whatever colors you want. You could use black, gray, and white. You could use 3 different shades of blue, 3 different shades of purple, whatever colors you want. You could mix and match colors. That's kind of what I did for mine. So for mine, I am using, for my dark color, I picked this really beautiful pink. This is Azalea in Kona Solids, if you're interested. And then for the medium color, I picked the super bright orange. It's like neon orange almost, but it goes really well with the pink. And this is Clementine in Kona Solids. And then for my light color, I picked a light pink. And this was, I think this is Peach Blossom. And that is not Kona. What brand did I use? I can't remember the name of it, but it's the Riley Blake solid line. I can't remember the name of it right now. So that's what I picked for mine. So let's see, what do we got to do, right? So first, we're going to cut all the fabrics. When I'm making a quilt, I like to cut all of the fabrics for the quilt top at the beginning and then start making the blocks. So that's what I'm going to do. And that's probably what you should do for this pattern because everything goes together very quickly as you cut the strips. So for each color, I'll break it down what we need to cut. So for fabric A, the dark color, we need 5 3.5 inch by width of fabric strips, and also 3 6.5 inch by width of fabric strips. So that is for fabric A. That's the dark color. So for mine, that's going to be that really bright hot pink. Medium color fabric B, we're going to do 10 3.5 inch by width of fabric strips and 5 6.5 inch by width of fabric strips. So that's what we need for that. And then for fabric C, the light color, so mine's the very light pink, I need 5 3.5 inch by width of fabric strips and then 2 6.5 inch by width of fabric strips. So just in case for some reason you don't have the pattern, that's the fabric requirements and the cutting. So first we are going to start with our first step, which is cutting the strips, right? And I thought it would be really fun to test out a new product that I found. And I saw it at Walmart, of all places, in the sewing section. Oh, goodness. My cat, Autumn, I didn't even realize she was in here. Say hi, kitty. Hi, Autumn. You got to go down there, okay? So I was at Walmart, and I just was walking by the craft section, and this large box caught my eye, and I was like, what in the world is that thing? So I stopped and looked, and it is a rotary cutter and ruler combo. 2 tools in one to make straight cuts quick and easy. So this thing is huge. The light is reflecting. But it's kind of like those paper cutters that has like the little handle thing that you move across the paper to cut it. A lot of scrapbookers use those and things, but it's for fabric. So I was like, well, I got to try that. Here you can kind of see what it looks like on the back. So it's just one of those giant paper cutters, basically. But it's got a rotary cutter blade in there, and we're going to try it out. I thought this was perfect because I have to cut a bunch of strips for this quilt, and that's what this does. So I just thought it would be fun to try. If I can open the box. Have any of you ever seen this thing? I'm curious because I had never seen it before. Definitely don't want to drop it. They always put these things in boxes where it's almost impossible to get them out without destroying the box. But what if I want to take it back? What if it doesn't work? Okay, I was able to get it out without destroying the box, so that's good. Oh, the ruler is clear. Sweet. So check that out. That is pretty cool. So it's basically an acrylic ruler with a rotary cutter attached to it. Let me hold that up so you can see the little rotary blade in there. And then you just glide it across to cut the fabric. So this is very interesting. We're going to try it out and see what happens. It's a cool idea. It's going to be even cooler if it actually works. So I have already cut, let's see, what size did I already cut? I already cut my 3.5-inch strips from my light pink. So I'm going to move on to cut, well, actually, no, wait. Before I cut into the fabric that I'm using for the quilt, I'm going to just use some practice fabric. So I just have some extra Kona here that I am going to use just to practice this thing. So, because I just have enough yardage just for the quilt and I don't want to accidentally ruin any fabric. Okay. Okay. So see, oh, the light is reflecting, but okay. The rotary blade does not, like, I'm running my finger underneath the rotary blade. It's not level with the ruler, but what you do is you push this down and that pushes the blade down and then you glide it. So that's nice. So you don't have to, well, I would still be careful about grabbing it by the blade. I don't think I would do that, but that's good. I was wondering how that was going to work. I'm also wondering if this locks into place somehow, so it's not, you know, just gliding all over the place when I'm not using it. But okay, I am going to point the camera down. Please bear with me. I have to reach way across my table to move the camera, but I'm going to point it down so you can see what I'm doing. So here we go. Hopefully that's straight. It looks pretty straight on my computer. So, okay. Gonna get my practice fabric here. Do they have like instructions? The cat is wanting to get some attention. She's being a booger. Can you guys hear me okay? Is the microphone picking up my voice all right? I just want to make sure that that's all working so you can actually hear what I'm saying and all that stuff. Sounds great. All right. Thank you, Lena. Okay. Well, we're just going to go for it because there's no instructions in the box, and I did not look up any videos on this. I wanted to just try it blind just to see what would happen. So this is going to be interesting to try because I don't know what the measurement is from the blade. I'm guessing that starts at, yeah, this is going to be interesting. Let's see if it works first of all. So I'm just going to place it on the fabric. Ooh, it feels like it's got a little grippy. Yeah, it's got a little grip under here, so it grips on the fabric. That's really nice. I wish all rulers had this because that helps a lot with holding the fabric still while you're cutting. So I'm just going to line up a line with my fabric here, and I'm just going to test the cutting just to see how it cuts. I'm not pushing very hard on this first try just to see how it goes. Okay. It cut mostly. I did miss a couple of spots. I must not have been applying the exact same pressure the whole way. So I'm going to cut that. But I mean, it cuts a straight line anyways. Very cool. So that worked. You definitely need to hold the same pressure as you're cutting. So that's really interesting. And let me look at the numbers here for a minute and see if I can figure out how this works. Get a tape measure here. How wide is this thing? So from the edge Where's the blade cutting at? Okay. So I would say this thing is interesting. It's interesting. So I am not going to cut the rest of my strips out because I'm going to have to do math to figure out where to cut and how to measure properly. Let's see. How wide is this thing? Okay, that's at 6. So what I could do, okay, I know, I see what I can do. Okay, so I would line up my edge of my fabric and then line it up with whatever number is on the ruler, just like you normally would. I think I was just overthinking it. If I had to cut little strips, like inch-wide strips, I wouldn't use this right away because the markings on the ruler, let's see, where's the camera? There are a bunch of little lines and markings on this ruler, and I am not sure what these mean yet. So I would hold off on cutting that. But since I'm cutting such big pieces, I can go ahead and cut. Because this thing is actually 6.5 inches wide, and that's the size that I need. So I'm going to go ahead and put the test fabric away. I hope the way I was describing that made sense. I'll probably do a separate video just to talk about this thing once I figure out, you know, how it all works and all that stuff. Because I don't want to give out wrong information because honestly, my brain's just all over the place right now. And I need my brain to think about what these markings are. Because there's like, okay, if I can show you this. If you look at the ruler, I don't know if you can see that, but there is a line, maybe like 1/8 of an inch above the metal. And that line, to me, seems like that would be the inch mark, right? Doesn't that make sense to you guys, that that would be the inch mark? And it looks like it, but if I measure the width of the metal thing to that line, it's like almost 1.25 inches. So that measurement right there is confusing me for some reason. So I don't know, I would just I'm probably way overthinking it, honestly. So let's just cut some fabric, okay? Let's get moving. All right. So now I'm going to cut my 6.5 inch pieces, which works perfectly because, again, this ruler is 6.5 inches wide. There we go. I'm going to get up to the fabric and try to apply the same pressure. I'm not pushing super hard. And there we go. I cut one. Nice. There we go. There's a strip. Let me measure it just to make sure. Yep, that's exactly 6.5. So that worked. And I need 2 of these. So I'm going to cut one more. Just going to set that aside. So this is a pretty cool tool, I will say, especially for cutting strips. I really like that grippy feature that it has. That's really nice. And it has weight to it too, which is also helping hold the ruler in place. So I quite like this. It was $45 at Walmart, if anyone's interested. I will try to find it on Amazon and link it in the description box after the video. I didn't remember to do that here before, so I will do that after, if anyone would be interested to get one. because I think this is really cool. I can definitely see myself using this for cutting strips. So there I have a little extra. I'm just going to set that aside. And there I have my light pink fabrics are cut. Now I'm going to cut my dark fabric. So I need 5 3.5 inch by width of fabric strips. Do you guys have a preferred solids line that you like? Like, I know I've talked about many times that I really like Kona solids. Do you guys have solids that you like? Let me know. I've actually really been wanting to try, let's see if I could try to use it this way and see what happens. I'm just going to trim this first. I've been really wanting to try Art Gallery's solid line. I think they're called Pure Solids. And I really like, oops, I didn't apply enough pressure. I really like Art Gallery's regular fabrics. They just have a completely different feel from other. If I can cut that chunk, man, that's a little annoying. But that's just technique. That's something you can figure out. But Art Gallery fabrics are so buttery. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but they just feel so completely different from regular quilting cotton. Even the nicer brands like Moda or Riley Blake, Art Gallery just has a completely different feel, and I think they're really nice. So I would really like to try their solids and see how those work. All right, 3.5 inch. So I'm going to line up my straight edge width of the fabric with the 3.5 inch line on my ruler. Oops, I probably need to start that over on the side. And I'm going to cut. Yeah, you know what? I'm just missing spots, so I am going to switch to using my regular rotary cutter, and I will figure out how to use this properly and then bring it into another video. How about that? Because I don't want it to take forever to cut the fabric. But I can definitely see that being very handy when cutting strips. Looks like we got a lot of Kona fans. Yep. Yes, Linda, width of, or WOF just means width of fabric. So from selvage to selvage, that is that's the width of fabric. So WOF is just how everybody all the cool kids shorten it. But that's what that means. I should have said that. I'm sorry. Whoop. Okay. Did anybody have any questions that I could kind of answer while I am cutting? Anybody think of anything? I do have one question that someone sent me on Facebook that I can go over if no one else has any questions. Or if anybody has questions about the pattern. use it vertically instead of horizontal, that's probably a good idea. That's probably a good idea, Rowena. I will try that. I know a lot of quilters cut all of their fabric vertically, but I've just always done it horizontally. So it's just kind of what I'm used to at this point. But that thing might work better going vertically instead. So that is a good tip. Hey, the guy who sews. Good to see you. All right, well, I'm not seeing any questions, so I am going to read off the question that I got on Facebook, and we'll talk about it. And there might be questions about that afterwards. Let's see. All right, this question is from Tracy R. And she says, my biggest struggle with making quilts is the quilting. It takes me forever to decide on how to quilt a quilt. Straight lines, free motion, rulers. I'm super new to that. What are some things that you consider when choosing a quilting style? That is, I really liked that question. I thought that was a really good question. So how do I go about figuring out what quilting I want to do? It really depends on a lot of stuff. So it's going to depend on the actual quilt that I've made. Do I feel like trying to do some kind of custom quilting design on it? Or do I feel like just more of a modern straight line quilting design? Would that look better with the pattern? So if I'm making more of a modern quilt, I usually go for straight lines because I just think that looks a lot like cleaner. It gives a really clean look, and I really enjoy doing straight line quilting. It's really fun, and it's fairly quick. If you're wanting something a quick way to quilt a quilt, I would go with straight line over free motion, because free motion definitely takes a long time. So that's something that I would consider would be the actual quilt pattern that I picked. Something else that I would consider. All right, now I'm cutting my 6.5 inch strips. Let's see. Now I got to use the lines on my mat. But let's see. So figuring out what kind of quilting I would want to do, definitely quilt pattern. Then I would just figure out kind of what I would be comfortable with doing. For me, I really like to challenge myself and try new quilting designs and techniques and things. So that is, that's one tip, is if you feel like, kind of challenging yourself and trying something new, then I say go for it. A way that I like to figure out what I'm going to do is I like to go onto Pinterest and look up inspiration ideas, So if I've decided I want to do free motion, then I will go onto Pinterest and I will just type in free motion quilting ideas. Or I'll go onto Instagram and look up free motion quilting ideas and things like that. And just try to look for inspiration and for ideas just to figure out what I want to do. Then when I figured out kind of what I want to do, then I will either, if it's a pattern that I have a digital copy for and they have a coloring page included. So all of my quilt patterns have a coloring page included. And I like to use, so I use those coloring pages to figure out how I am going to quilt a quilt. And I will actually draw the quilting onto that coloring page. So That really helps. I think I've shown how to do that in one of my free motion quilting videos. But that can really help. And before I have done that, I've kind of picked on a free motion quilting design that I've wanted to do, but then I've drawn it onto the quilt and I just thought, that looks kind of weird. And then I would pick something else. And you can do that with free motion or straight lines. So if you want to try a different type of straight line, so say you want to do like super tight straight lines, like horizontally or vertically or diagonally on the quilt, but you're not sure what it's going to look like, I would either use that coloring page or you could draw the quilt, just a rough drawing. You do not have to, draw it really well and color it in or anything unless you want to. But then I would draw it out and see how you like it and see if it looks right to you. And that really helps kind of narrow down what you want to do, what you feel comfortable with, what will go with your pattern, that sort of thing. So I hope that helps. I need to switch to my new rotary cutter. So I really like this Fisker's rotary cutter, but this little mechanism that opens it, I think it's gotten a little loose. So sometimes when I'm cutting, it like snaps shut and it always startles me. So I bought another one and I just need to switch it out. I've used this one for many years. I think I've had it probably for at least 3 years. But that mechanism is just not as sturdy as it used to be. So, all right. So I got my 5 3.5-inch strips cut and my 3 6.5-inch strips cut for my dark color. So I can set this aside. And now I can cut my orange fabric. And that is the medium color. And this is the one that we have the most strips out of. Oh, goodness. Auntie Julie, just wondering how Lena became your moderator. Oh, yeah. She just emailed me and asked if I needed help. And I was like, yes. I hadn't even thought about having a moderator. Hold on. My cat's crying at the door. I need to let her out. But I hadn't even thought about getting a moderator until she emailed me, and I was like, oh, duh. That would help a lot because she's just helping with keep track of questions and helping you guys out if you need answers to anything. So that is how Lena became my moderator. And she has been watching the channel for a long time. And I think we've become friends. I like her a lot. She's a very wonderful lady. And yeah, she lives in Alaska, which is really cool. So yeah. All right. Ooh, a couple of questions. Kate asks, I want to use chalkline stencil on a pin-basted quilt sandwich. Do you mark the top before you pin baste or after? Oh, okay. Very good question. So I don't think I have ever used chalk to mark. You know what? I think my camera is focusing on my computer right here and not down here. I don't know if I can fix that. Can I fix that from here? I don't know. But anyways, I've never used a chalk pencil, so I don't know how difficult it is to write with. But whenever before I started glue basting, I did pin baste all of my quilts. And whenever I would need to mark a quilt, I always marked after I had basted. But like I said, the chalk, I'm not sure how easy it's going to be to mark. So I don't know if you'd kind of I don't know if the quilt top would kind of shift a lot when you're marking, if you know what I mean. So I would kind of maybe just pin based a small section of it and just try to mark it with the stencil or with the chalk and see how the quilt top reacts to it. You know, the chalk is going to work fine, but I just don't know if it's going to kind of shift the fabric and be kind of a pain to work with after it's been pin basted. So I hope that helps. But that's what I would do. I would kind of do like a little practice section and see if having it already pinned is annoying. It might be easier just to mark it before you've pin basted. I can't think of a downside to marking before you pin the quilt. So yeah, that would be, I guess that would be my advice. Either do a little test or just mark it before, unless someone else might have a tip for you for that. So, all right. See, I cannot do two things at once. When I'm talking, I apparently cannot cut fabric. So let me keep going here. Okay, Rowena, I will use a chalk pounce. Oh, okay. Okay. I also have not used that yet. I just ordered one. I'm planning on using it on this quilt. So I think you should be able to mark it. If you're using a chalk pounce, I think you should be able to mark after it's been pin basted. So I think that should work fine. Hopefully that clears that up. But I haven't used the pounce pad yet, so I don't have any experience with it. But yeah, you'll have to let me know how that works. Have you used the pounce pad before, Kate? Or is this going to be your first time trying it? Not sure if she got my question. But I'll jump to the next question, and if Kate comes back, we'll circle back. Okay, Rowena, does your quilting ever switch around on your quilts? I tried one design and half the blocks, half another, and borders something else looks okay, but not sure if I should have. Are there rules? Well, okay. Are there rules? No. You might hear something else from other quilters, but if it looks good to you and if you're having fun doing it, then that's totally fine. You know? If you want to play around and try a bunch of different quilting designs on one quilt, then go for it. If you want to mix and match straight line and free motion, go for it. You know, hand quilting and tying, go for it. I don't believe in rules for that sort of thing. So, no, I wouldn't say that there are rules. And if it looks good to you, and like I said, if you're having fun, then I think that should be great. You know, yeah, I've mixed and matched different designs before, and that's really fun. And you can that really helps you stretch your creativity, you know? So like if you have star blocks, for example, in the center square of your star block, you could do a cool, like tight, swirly free motion. And then in the star points, you could do some cool straight line. You'd basically be doing like custom quilting on it. And I think that sounds a lot of fun. And I say, if that's what you want to do, Rowena, then go for it. Seriously. You will not be slapped with a rule book here. I just don't think that there should be rules, and especially someone else shouldn't be telling you how to do your quilt. You know? So, okay, Kate says this is her first time using the pounce pad. Okay, that's going to be really interesting. I hope that works well for you. You always used the Dritz blue marker before. Yeah, that's what I always use for marking also. But I've kind of wanted to try a pounce pad for a while. And yeah, I think that's going to be really fun for you. And I'm looking forward to trying it also. Exactly. The guy who sews. It's your craft and fun time. Do what makes you happy. Exactly. Mm-hmm. All right. Oh, the guy who sews also has a question. How do you pick the projects that you make on the channel? Are they ones that catch your eye, something sponsored, or something else? Always interested on how other content creators choose that. Oh, so my the way that I kind of decide on projects is kind of what feels good to me at the moment. Sometimes it is specific to stuff that I'm sent specifically from Missouri Star Quilt Company. I'm a partner of theirs right now. So sometimes they send me extra products that they want me to feature in a video or to do like an Instagram post on. And I am not big into Instagram. I'm not a fan of Instagram. So I usually just make a video about it because I'm a lot more comfortable doing YouTube content than doing stuff on Instagram. I'm not really sure why, but that is the case. So sometimes I will feature something that they've sent me. So like my most recent tutorial, I did that little mini quilt with a the poodle templates that they have. Those were new templates that they were releasing in their shop, and they wanted some people to make content about it, I guess. So I made that, but they gave me permission to do whatever I wanted to do with it, you know? So, which I like. I would not be a fan if I was being told, like, you must do this, you must make this project. So I decided to do some applique because I really enjoy doing applique, and I hadn't done very much applique in a long time. And I thought the little mini template was like perfect for adding a little whimsy into some free motion quilting, and it worked really well. So that's kind of how I come up with content. I will say I'm like super against copying people. So I don't watch a lot of quilters on YouTube because I do not want to be influenced by what they're making and then start making stuff like them, if that makes sense. So I do watch some stuff, obviously, but yeah, I really don't want to ever, seem like I'm copying anyone, and I really try to come up with my own take on stuff and my own, the stupid cutter, and my own designs and things like that. So I hope that answers your question. If you ever want to talk about it more, I'm happy to talk about it more. But yeah, I just like to come up with, something that sounds fun to do at that time. Yeah, exactly. All right. Yep, Janet, you're right. There are no quilt police here anyways. There is such a thing as quilt police. But they don't really come around here, really. I have gotten very minimal negative comments from people or anything like that. So that's been really nice. I have gotten a few, and that's that's not very nice, but that's going to happen. If you're on the internet saying anything, there's going to be somebody there that's going to not agree with you and let you know that they don't. And it's usually not about a technique. It's usually aimed towards me, like I talk too much, which I know I do kind of, I talk a lot, especially in my videos. Because I'm, I want to be friends with you guys. I'm not just here to say, here's step 1, 2, and 3, and that's it. So, and if people don't like that, that's okay. I'm not the channel for them then. All right. So I am just cutting my 3.5 inch by width of fabric strips here. Is anybody else working on this quilt at the same time? I'm curious. Or is anybody else working on something else? What are you working on? Hey, Anne. Good to see you. Oh, thank you, Rowena. Rowena says, love that you talk a lot. It makes me feel like I'm talking to a friend. Don't change. Yeah, see, that's what I'm going for. That has been the goal since I started on here. I have never wanted to come across as, I don't know, just like a strict teaching channel. I really would like it to be more of, we're just some friends hanging out, sewing together. I'm showing you a cool new trick I figured out, that sort of thing. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 3 more. Yours is done. Kate, you already finished yours? That's awesome. I would probably have finished mine too if I wasn't talking talking so much. But here we are. Oh, okay, cool. Home Life with Linda. She says that she's inspired by this quilt or this pattern, but she's using smaller blocks and using blues and greens. Oh, that is going to be so cute. I like blues and greens together. Great choice. Oh, Helena is knitting socks. Oh my goodness, that is so cool. I have always wanted to learn how to knit, but I have tried knitting and I just could not get it. My aunt, she was visiting and she sat down and tried to teach me how to knit, but she's a righty and I'm a lefty, and just got so confused. And she was trying her best to show me how. And hold on, I gotta count again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Really? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. And I didn't pick it up. I got the basics, but my knitting was really tight. And I just kind of lost the interest in it, I think that was before I started quilting. So before I started quilting, I tried so many different crafting things because I really wanted to get into some kind of hobby, some kind of crafty hobby, but I just could not figure out what was for me. And then I tried quilting and oh my goodness, I am hooked for life for sure with quilting. So it's definitely, it was worth the wait, waiting for the right one. So I really really enjoy quilting, and the quilting community is great. And man, my camera is focusing on this corner of the computer instead of what I'm doing. There, that should be better. All right, let's see. Oh, someone else is knitting. Auntie L Handmade. I'm knitting beanies to send to So Yeah Quilting for their Alaska quilt drive. I made 10 this week. Whoa. Wow, you were really fast. 10 this week. That's amazing. That's so cool. Helena, you're right. She says YouTube is your best friend, and you can learn how to knit. They also teach left-handed as well. Yeah, you're probably right. I just need to take the time and learn. But, you know, here we are. It is something I would like to learn. Either that or crocheting. Because I just think that would be a really fun hobby to have to do. My goodness. I really need to switch to my other cutter. But now I need to cut 5 of these. If anyone asked a question or sent a comment and I have not replied, I am not ignoring you, I promise. I've just missed it, and I'm trying to keep up with the chat and cutting the fabric and all that. So please don't feel like I'm ignoring you if I've missed anything you've said. This is a lot. Trying to keep up with everything. I think it would be really fun. Let me know what you think about this, but I think it would be really fun to host a Zoom call with a bunch of us, could get together and just chit chat. You know, you could bring sewing if you want to sew, or we could just sit and drink a coffee or whatever your drink of choice is, and we could just hang out and talk. What do you guys think of that? I'm wondering if anyone would want to come. But I'm also thinking about, I did that video that was on Friday, I do believe, and I talked about selling quilts online. And I have had so many questions about all of that. So I've actually thought about hosting another Zoom call just on that topic. And if anybody wants to come in and ask questions about selling quilts or any handmade items, really, and we could talk, brainstorm together, that sort of thing, I think that would be really fun. So keep an eye out for that. I'll have to figure out how to do all of that. But yeah, I'm shocked how well that video has done and how much interest there is in selling handmade products, which I shouldn't be shocked at that because I was in that realm for a long time. I know there's a lot of people that do it, but I think that would be really fun and to talk about and stuff like that. So, oh, Auntie Ellie, you found me because of that. Cool. Kate, you don't know how to Zoom call? That's totally fine. I would set all of it up. So basically, here, let me move the camera up because I just keep talking and you're just watching my hands flail around. Let's see if I can make the camera not quite so crooked. Not too crooked. Sorry, I am a little sweaty. I'm sure you can see it, but I've got a bright light shining right at me, and it's kind of hot in here. But so a Zoom call, basically what I would do is I would set everything up, and how I would get you to the Zoom call is I would get your email address. So I will have some kind of form for you to sign up for that email. And then once I decide when and all of the background stuff for the Zoom call, then I would send that email out, and then you would just have a link that you would click and it would automatically open that Zoom call, and that should work for you. So that is that's how the Zoom would work. So I don't think you would have to do anything. I would make it as easy as possible for you. But I think it would be really fun, and it would be fun to actually see your guys' faces too. Cause yeah, it's fun to watch the chat, but it's a little different when you're actually looking someone face to face and talking to them, right? So that'll be something, and it seems like that you guys think that would be fun. So we'll definitely do a Zoom call sometime, where we can just hang out and sew together if we want to sew together, talk if we want to talk. I think that would be really, really fun. I think that might be more fun than just this regular live. So maybe I will jot that down in my planner and get that figured out. So, and I'll try to make it as easy as possible for you guys, so you're able to find your way around. If I need to, I'll make a video to show you how to click the link and get set up. So we'll make it as easy as possible. Pat says, "You're glowing, not sweating." That's right. I've just got my youthful glow. Oh goodness. All right. Let's see. How many have I cut of these? 3, and I need 5. Ooh, I'm almost done with the cutting. Yep, that's a great idea. Home Life with Linda says the first one could be chatty while working out the kinks. That's a really good idea. And I would let you guys know, like, this is not a serious conversation. We're just trying to figure out if it works. That's a really good idea. Thank you. Yeah, I think that'll be really fun. It's hot in Wisconsin too, Deborah. Yeah, it's really hot here. I think it was like 98 today, and it's super sunny and really humid. I'm in Missouri. You would not think Missouri, I mean, at least I didn't think Missouri would be that humid, but it is crazy. A lot of times, my brother and sister-in-law, I think my brother might be watching. Jeffrey, are you watching? But he and my sister-in-law live in Florida, and a lot of times it's hotter here in Missouri than it is down in Florida, which is crazy. So yeah, I feel your pain with the heat. It is nasty. Just icky. Ooh, another question. Yes, you're here. I thought so. I thought I saw you earlier. Hello. All right. Ann Olson asks, why did you get out of selling on Etsy? That is a very good question. So I stopped selling on Etsy because people stopped buying. So I stopped. Well, that's not true. That's not true. I still stayed during COVID, but kind of when COVID hit, orders just stopped for a while. I was getting some inquiries, but people were wanting like a $200 quilt, and it's like, no, that's not gonna work. So, because when COVID hit, people were not spending their extra money on a quilt, which is totally understandable. What am I doing here? So what I did was I switched gears with selling and making quilts. I started hunting online for some kind of work because I can't just sit around. I needed something to do. And I got onto a website called Upwork.com, which is basically a site for freelance workers of all kinds, graphic designers, writers, photographers, whatever kind of freelance work you can think of. And I got on there and I made a profile and I was like, well, I don't have a college degree, but I do know quite a bit about sewing because I've been running a successful Etsy shop for several years and all that stuff. And I was very good at grammar. I just was good at it since school and everything. And what I was initially, I was looking for kind of like a proofreading job because I thought that would be really fun. And I did not get a proofreading job, but I did get a couple that ran a quilting blog reached out to me, of all things, a quilting blog, right? Reached out to me and they were like, we would like you to write for us. And I told them I have no writing experience. And I'm thinking back to high school when I was not good at writing. I just wasn't, you know, and it wasn't my forte, but I was good at grammar. So it was weird. But so anyways, long story short, I got that job and I started writing for them. And quickly they told me, like, you're good at this. You're good at the blog style writing, which is more of a conversational writing style. So, and I'm good at talking, you know, we all know that. So, so I started doing that and that's what I was doing. And I was getting a quilt order here or there, but it wasn't, I was making more writing than what I was making the quilts. And another point I would like to make is I was mostly making memory quilts. And what I mean by that is people were sending me their loved ones, a lot of times their loved ones who had passed away, their clothing items and things like that. Or they were sending me like their baby's baby clothes or their child's baby clothes. So these were like priceless items to these people. And for me, it was a super stressful job because if I messed up, I couldn't just order another yard of that fabric, or I couldn't, you know, just go buy another t-shirt or whatever I was using, another jean jacket from the store. Like, it wasn't the original. And that was just surprisingly stressful on me. And I just, it was stressful. I never did mess up, but I was very careful to not ruin anything. And it just kind of got to the point where I was like, well, I could just write a little extra and be making the same as what I was making with the custom quilts. So that's what I did. And then I started freelancing for other sites. I freelanced for a woodworking blog for a while because I find woodworking really interesting. So I would get to research that and write on it. And then I just decided, you know, I'm just going to go for the writing thing. I'm not going to make quilts anymore. And I took it down. But all of that to say, I'm actually working on a custom quilt right now behind the scenes. So one of my previous customers, she reached out to me on Instagram and she asked if I would make her another quilt. So she sent me the fabric she wants me to use. And I just got done cutting all that fabric this afternoon for the quilt top. So I've been cutting fabric like a lot the last couple of days. But so yeah, that's really fun because I haven't done a custom quilt in a couple of years. So it's I'm excited to make it. And yeah. So I think that was a really long answer to your question, but that's why I'm not on Etsy anymore, is because my work shifted after COVID. And then, yeah, I was writing for that blog, and then I started my own blog. And then a year ago in April, so a little over a year, I started this YouTube channel, and it has just been growing quickly. It's been growing really quickly recently, which is really exciting. I just crossed over 16,000 subscribers, which is crazy to me and just wild that so many people have subscribed. I was like sitting there thinking like, that's a lot of people. But anyways, yeah. So that's why I'm not on Etsy anymore. I do have my quilt patterns on Etsy, but you know, oh well. But yeah, I would like to do more videos on selling online, and specifically maybe Etsy I'll talk about and things like that. So, because I still know a lot about it, I just don't do it right now. But it doesn't mean I won't do it in the future. It's just right now I'm so focused on this YouTube channel and writing my patterns that, you know, I don't need to make custom quilts for a bunch of people right now. So, oh goodness, it's hot. Let me look here. If there were any other questions. Ooh, we're talking about the heat. Yeah. Oof. All right. 113. Yikes. Oh my goodness. That is super hot. Is that 5? All right. I got all of my orange strips cut. I am finally done cutting strips, you guys. Oh my goodness. And we've been going for about an hour. I don't know. How long do the streams, oh my goodness, I am so shiny. How long do the streams usually go that you watch? I mean, I don't want to just keep on going if you guys are kind of bored. But I'm really curious how long the streams usually are that you watch, and do you usually watch people sew, or is it more, you know, kind of chit chat? 2 hours, or if they have everything pre-cut, about an hour. I probably should have just pre-cut everything, but here we are. 1 or 2 hours normal. Okay. Okay. Well, does anyone have any other questions? Okay, Heather, you tend to watch, you like actual sewing. Yeah, I get that for sure. I am learning. This is a whole new learning experience for me. So but I want to do what you guys are interested in. Cuz you know, that's kind of the whole point of why I'm doing this. I want to not be boring for you guys. So I'm going to pull my hair back. It's very hot. Oh my goodness. Melissa Makes Quilts asks, what's your experience with how well printed quilt labels wear and wash? I do not have any experience with that because I have not made a printed quilt label. I have hand stitched quilt labels before, but I have not used a printed quilt label. Are you talking about like you print it yourself on fabric on your home printer, or are you talking about like a store-bought printed label, Melissa. Thank you, Kathy. She says my hair is beautiful. Thank you. I'm trying to grow out my natural color. I've been abusing my hair for a very long time, so slowly growing out my natural hair color, which is fun. Yeah, and that's a good idea. Should have just shown cutting one strip for each color and size and then have everything else already cut. I will remember that for next time. Unless, there's like a special technique I'm wanting to show, but kind of doubt that will happen. But yeah, that's a good idea. I'm gonna get over here. Ooh, I can actually turn the camera a little bit because I'm gonna move over to the sewing machine. I can sew a little bit, and I think my microphone should pick up. Is it? That's almost fallen off. My microphone should pick up my talking over the sewing machine, so I should be able to talk and sew at the same time. But okay, Melissa says about the quilt labels. No, I ordered some, but I usually machine embroider labels, and I'm just not sure how it holds up. Yeah, I'm not sure either. I have wondered that also, and I guess I just haven't tried them because I'm a little hesitant to think that would last. But they might. I really don't know. And I wouldn't really know how you would test it. Because what you put a label on a piece of fabric and then just wash it a bunch of times and see what happens. So, all right. Deborah asks, how many hours a day do you dedicate to sewing? Well, the amount of time I sew really depends on what my workload is with everything else. And if I'm working on a specific project or if I'm testing things out. So I don't sew every day. I wish I did, but I just don't have time to sew every day. And it really depends. Usually, if I am sewing, I sew a lot. I sew several hours because I'm not good at just working a little bit on a project and then moving on to something else. If I start working on something, then that's like my main focus until I'm done, basically, until I'm like exhausted or my back's hurting or something. So, yeah, so the amount of hours I spend sewing, it really depends on the day. So, yeah. Hopefully that answers your question. Okay, Melissa says she's thinking about testing a label on a scrap and throwing it in my laundry loads all week. That's a good idea. There you go. And see how it works. That's the only way you're gonna know if it's gonna last is if you wash it a bunch, right? All right. Back to focusing on the quilt. So now we are going to sew our strips together. So this is the fun part. This goes together really quick. Let me kind of organize my strips here real quick. Oh my goodness. Okay, I see what I'm doing. So first I'm going to get my 3.5 inch strip, 3.5 inch strips. All of those here, so it's easy to see them. All right, and then I am just going to start piecing them together like I show in the pattern. Let's see. Hi, Deb. Good to see you. All right, so our strips, we're piecing them together just like the example. So we do fabric A and fabric B, which are the dark and the medium fabrics. So for me, that is my hot pink and orange. Beautiful. I love these colors. These are completely out of my comfort zone, but I don't know. I just have been on an orange and pink kick lately. So I just put the fabrics together. If you're using prints, you would want the right sides together, right? When you're sewing them together. We use a 1/4 inch seam allowance on any of these, on all of the seams, rather. And then I'm just going to start sewing a 1/4 inch seam. Very good. Finally starting to sew, an hour and 16 minutes in. All right, here we go. My speed is turned down. I think I turned it down for free motion the other day. Turn it back up. Let me know if you guys have any questions, okay? And hopefully you can hear me talking over the sewing machine. I think this microphone is supposed to pick up my voice over the machine. All right, so there's our first set of strips. Super cute. Kind of reminds me of like a Willy Wonka a little bit. Didn't Willy Wonka, one of his candy bars, wasn't the candy bar orange and pink? I think that's right. I haven't watched that movie in so long. I loved Willy Wonka as a kid. Oh, good. You guys can hear me. Good. Good. I love your shirt you're wearing. I love cats. Where did you get it? Thanks, Christine. So this is actually a Totoro it's from a movie that was made in late 80s, early 90s, I do believe. Might have been a little later than that. Called My Neighbor Totoro. It's a Japanese animated film that I loved as a kid. And I got this t-shirt. I think I got this t-shirt on eBay, actually. So I don't know if you can find the exact same one, but these films are very popular. So if you look up My Neighbor Totoro t-shirts, you'd be able to find all kinds of t-shirts with these cute little characters on it. So there you go. Oh, Sandy. Hi. Living in my now. That's my best friend from Minnesota. Her name is Sandy. She's finally here. Oh, Crystal has a question. Silly question. No question is silly. If it's something you don't know, it's not silly. It's just something you don't know. On Miriam's sewing machine, she has the cool item that holds the spool thread up really high. What is that called, and is it made for a Singer machine? So this is just the attachment. This is part of the machine. Here, let me move the camera over just a smidgen. So this is part of the machine. So yeah, but you can, for a singer, you can get this other thing that I have. Let me show it to you. There's this little guy that you can use with a singer. This is what I used to use with mine. And because I would buy like big spools of thread for my singer, and I'd have the big spool in here and then thread the thread through this loop and then thread my machine like normal. So yeah, so if you want to use like a bigger spool, this works great. It's Dritz brand. I got this at Joann's like a long time ago. I'm assuming they still sell them. You can probably also find them on Amazon. I don't remember what it's called. Maybe just a spool holder. But yeah, that's not a silly question. I'll put it back. Everything has its place. Okay. I was just reading comments and I just realized I was like, oh goodness. But yeah. Yeah, Cynthia says she sees it on Amazon and it's just called a spool holder by Dritz. So there you go. It's very nice. And it's the base of it is weighted, so it's not going to like tilt over or anything. I like it. It works. It worked well. I just don't have to use it with this one because it's got its own little built-in thingamajiggy. So yeah. Ooh, I have kind of a funny story I can share. So when I was kind of transitioning from making quilts to working online in the quilting industry, one of my jobs, I was freelancing for a bunch of companies over the years, but I worked for this company that sold quilting templates that were meant to be used with your domestic sewing machine. And I made videos for them and different things, but I never showed my face. It was just my chubby little hands were in the video. And you still see their ads sometimes. The company is called Love Sew. They run a lot of Facebook ads, I guess. And I had people reach out to me and they're like, wait, is this you? This looks like your hands. Because I have just kind of like, naturally chubby hands. That's just life. But anyways, when I was working for them, I also helped on the side. I helped them with customer service stuff because everyone else that they had working for them didn't know anything about sewing machines, and I didn't really understand why they wouldn't educate their workers on sewing machines or anything like that. But so I was the one that was sent all of the questions whenever it was about, is my sewing machine a high or low shank machine? Will this work with my machine? I'd have to look up specific sewing machines. So I learned a lot about the mechanics of sewing machines through that job. But whenever I hear someone talk about the quilt police, I think about that customer service job because I'm pretty sure the quilt police like lived on that company's like Facebook page, because there's just like people could be so mean and rude. It was just so shocking. And I just thought, man, there's a different way to get your answer to your question than to just be flat out rude. I just don't understand that. But that's really probably my only personal experience with quilt police is working on that customer service. I haven't had anyone be like malicious you know, with me on the channel. Like I said, any negative comments I get are like, you talk too much, or stop moving your hands so much. It's like, you know, it's stuff that I can't really change because it's it's how I am. I can't help it. But so what I'm doing, just in case you're not following along with the pattern, is I'm sewing 5 of my dark fabric strips, 3.5-inch strips, to 5 of my medium fabric 3.5-inch strips. So for me, it's the pink and the orange, and I'm just doing every other one, and we do 5 of each. So that's what I'm doing here. Hello, everyone that's coming in. So happy to see new people that I don't think I've talked to before. That's really fun. But yeah, back to Crystal's comment. There is no silly question. There is no stupid question. You know, if you're learning and you genuinely have a question about something, then don't feel ashamed or weird to ask it. You know, you don't know. It's not, you know, it's not silly. Might have to call this quilt the Willy Wonka quilt, because now that I've said that about the pink and the orange, like I can't unsee it. This is fun. I don't usually sew in the evenings because I usually sew a lot during the day, and then by the time, you know, 6:30 rolls around, I'm like tired. So this is fun sewing later in the evening. Anne asks, are you sewing number 6? Am I sewing number 6? What do you mean, Anne? Like step 6? Is there a step 6 in this? I don't remember. Strips. Are you sewing number 6? Strips? I'm not sure what you mean. These are, it's 5 strips of each. So I do 5 of the pink and 5 of the orange. Right? Yeah. Yep. And then when we move on to the sections with the larger strips, then we sew 3 of one and 2 of the other, if that makes sense. That's okay. She says she misunderstood. It's all right. I might have said something wrong. That happens. I am so shocked that Obie is doing so well. She's just sleeping over there. So that is a relief. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. Rhonda asks, so are you a hand model? Yes, I guess technically I am a hand model. Obviously with these chunky pale fingers. That's funny. I think I joked with my family back when I did that I'm a professional model. Thousands of people have seen these hands. But yeah. That's funny. But let's see. Yes, 5 of each color. So our first set, you take fabric A and fabric B, and you take 5 of each of those, and you sew them together every other one. Then for a second set, you take fabric B and fabric C, and you take 5 of each, and you sew them together every other one. So you're going to have a set that looks like this, like that, and then a set that looks like that. So hopefully that clarifies. I should have explained that better. I guess I assumed everyone just had this in front of them, so I didn't really need to say anything. But yes, it's 5 of each fabric. That was my bad. I should have clarified. I'm learning. Okay, Anne asks, not a sewing question, but what kind of dog is Obie? Oh, Obie is, so not 100% sure what all Obie is. She definitely looks like a blue heeler, very much so. If you look up blue heelers and then you look at Obie, she looks very similar, but she's thinner than a blue heeler, and her tail is a lot thinner. Like blue heelers have kind of a thick tail, and Obie has like a little skinny long tail. So she's got something else, some kind of mutt. We found her on Craigslist. So her mom rejected the puppies when they were 5 weeks old. She was like done with them because they were biting, and she was just done. So we found her on Craigslist and picked her up when she was 5 weeks old, and I've had her ever since. And yeah, the mom dog looked so sad. Like, I have no idea what kind of dog she was, but she did not look very good. I don't think they were taken care of very well, honestly, which is really sad. But now Obie definitely lives in the lap of luxury now, and she is a little princess. So she's definitely got blue heeler in her, but other than that, I really don't know. I think when we got her, the people that we got her from said that she was a feist, which I had never heard of before. So yeah, I don't know. And Obie is 8. Deborah asked how old she was. She is 8. She will be 9 in November. She was born November 13th. So yeah. Can't believe she's going to be 9 already. It's crazy. Crazy, crazy, crazy. And she's my little nugget. All right, I just need one more strip, right? Yep, one more strip, and then we'll sew the next set. And then we'll press some seams. That's always fun. Sandy says, I didn't know you and Obie something. I can't read the other word. Have had birthdays and each other. Yes, me and Obie's birthdays are very close. Fun fact, me and all of my siblings were born in November. So we have lots of birthday fun in November. Okay, Glenda asks, will you be adding a border? No, not for this quilt. I'm just going to have it look like the front page. So I'm just going to have it look like that. You could definitely add a border, especially, oh, there's the camera. You could definitely add a border, especially if you want it to be a little larger, because it's a 60-inch square quilt as is. But if you want to add a border, you certainly can. But I think I will leave off a border for this one. And this is the quilt I'm going to be trying pounce pad on. So what I might do is I might finish piecing the quilt top. I might not, I don't know if I should continue making this in the lives, because I don't know if it's super interesting to you guys or not. But I think the pounce pad attempt will be interesting. So yes, Sandy, our birthdays are right next to each other. Oh, wow. Kate has a German Shepherd. Harley. Is Harley a girl or a boy? And he's 110 pounds. Wow. That's a big pup. That is a big pup. Obie is about, she's pushing 40 pounds right now. I would like her to lose a little bit of weight just because she is getting a little bit older. And I want her to live forever, basically. So I need to, I know I need to be a little stricter with the treats, but it's hard. She's so cute when she cries for a treat and stuff. But yeah. All right. So there's our first chunk. Pretty cute. I just love the look of the solid stripes. It's so eye-catching, you know? I think it looks really cool. So I'm going to set this aside back on my ironing board. It's right over here. And we're going to make our other section before I start pressing. So now I'm just going to take my light fabric and my medium fabric, and I need 5 strips from each of these as well, okay? And we're going to be sewing them. And with these, I'm going to start with fabric B, or in my case, the orange. So before, B was the second strip in the row, but this time the orange is going to be the first one. So it's going to look like that. Okay? So 5 of each of the colors. Heather would love to see a continuation of the project. Okay. Okay. Well, I'm open to that for sure. For sure. Rowena, all of my siblings and I were born 9 months after snowstorms, except my oldest brother, who was born 9 months and 4 days after their wedding. Ha! Well, there you go. Oh, goodness. And first dog, also called Rat Terrier. We used to have one. I can see that in Obie along with the blue heeler. Yeah. See, we thought that maybe she looked like a terrier, especially when she was younger. And she kind of acted like one. She was wild. She has calmed down quite a bit from when she was like 2 and younger. She was something else. But yeah, I would agree with that it could be some kind of terrier. I guess the mom looked like she could have been some kind of terrier, but she just looked like she was in such bad shape. It was really sad. But ooh, Kate added a 6-inch polka dot border to her Gingham Square Dance. I bet that is so cute. I like the combination of the polka dot and the gingham. I bet that's really, really cute. I would love to see what you guys are working on. So I don't know if you guys are on Facebook, but I have a Facebook group that we have over 500 people in there now, which is really cool. But that's a really cool place to share what we're working on. And everybody is so supportive and nice in there. I always love logging on and checking out, making sure the group is, there's no random ads and stuff being thrown in there. And it's always so nice to see that everybody's so nice to each other and being supportive. And if you have questions, everybody's quick to answer and help out. And it's just a really great group of quilters. There's no quilt police. If anyone was to start acting like a little quilt police person, I would definitely, kind of message them and tell them, we're not going to do that in here. But so yeah, if you would like to join the Facebook group, I think I have that. Oh, Lena is one step ahead of me. She threw in the link to the Facebook group if you would like to join. So yeah, I think that would be really fun. I really like it. It's very much fun for me. So, and then we can share with each other what we're working on. Okay, you don't have Facebook? That's okay. That's all right, girl. If you want, if you have email, you could email me a picture if you want me to see what you made. I have several people email me, and I like to email. If I'm a couple of days late to reply, I am not ignoring you. I promise. I'm just busy. But I try to reply to every email that I get. So if that's an option for you, I'd be happy to chat there too. Oh, hey, Killspun. Okay, Killspun, tell me if I'm pronouncing your name right. Because is it Nichelle? Nichelle, I think is how I pronounce your name, but I'm not 100% sure. But I don't want to be. Yes, okay. Nichelle. Okay, awesome. Yeah, I would love for you to try the pattern. I think you would put a really cool spin on it for sure, because I really like your work. Nichelle does a lot of crochet, I do believe, either crochet or knitting, but I think it's crochet. And they make really cool pieces, and I really like it. So yeah, I think it would be fun to see what you do with the pattern for sure. That is awesome. I love that, Nichelle. Very cool. Let's see. Oh, Sherry's going to start a quilt tonight. Awesome. Oh, Rhonda asks, not even a narrow border as part of the binding? Well, I will have binding on for sure. So I guess it would be technically a very thin border. But yeah, one of these days I want to try out facing, because I've never tried that before, but probably not for this quilt. But yeah. Let's see. Deborah says, this quilt is a great beginner quilt for someone who needs to practice straight line piecing. Yes, that is for sure. Yep. And practice like pressing seams. It's just like a great first quilt, because you're practicing straight seams, pressing seams, and then piecing, getting the points to match. It is a really great beginner pattern. And yeah, I really like it, if I may say so myself. Oh, goodness. That is what I'm here for, Nichelle. Really. Like, that is, I want to be an encouragement. Like, I don't remember who I was talking to. It was probably my mom. But I was like, I do not really want, like, going into doing all of this content creation and stuff, I don't really want to be like an influencer. I'd rather be an encourager for people, because being an influencer just feels kind of icky. But being an encourager, that is something that I would like to do and, kind of be known for, I guess. Because I just honestly love quilting so much, and I just want, anybody that wants to try quilting, I want them to have the confidence to try, because it has literally changed my life, and I would love to see that happen for someone else, so it's very special to me. Oh, Kimberly, I just found your YouTube and recently have binged all your videos. Oh, wow. Thank you. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. Really. And yeah, that's a lot of videos. I'm glad you're sticking around. That's a good sign. I just got a notification from my Apple Watch saying, like, hey, you should probably get up. You should probably stand up. You've been sitting for too long. Don't tell me what to do. All right. Yes, Deborah, quilting is therapy. 100%. 100%. Heather just got the same notification. Rebel against the watch. It is a handy notification. It does help. But yeah. When you're in the zone, it's hard to rip yourself out of it, right? Oh, Deborah, that would be awesome. She says, I think I'm going to make this one with my granddaughter. I want to teach her how to quilt. That would be amazing. Really. I think that's so cool that you want to teach her. That's really great. And you know what? Even if she doesn't pick up quilting, those memories of making something with you is going to be something that she will remember for a long, long time. So I think that's really, really special that you're going to take the time and show her how to quilt. That's really cool. I love that. Sherry. Sherry says, I get those notifications all the time too, and I ignore them. Yeah. I honestly, I usually ignore it too. Because I do try to be active at least in the morning. I don't know if you guys are like that, but I try every morning, 6 days a week. I try to get up and move my body in some way in the mornings. So, I work out. I actually work out with my dad. He's big into weightlifting, so he's helped me get into that, which has been actually a lot of fun. Or if I don't really feel like doing that, I at least try to go for a walk with Obie for a while. So I just try to, because it's good. It's good for you to get up and move your body in some way, and if you can, and yeah. But then, you know what? Then after maybe noon, it's all bets are off if I get up at a regular times or not, because I'm usually focused on work. So if I'm sewing, I'm hunched over my sewing machine, or if I'm doing computer work, I'm hunched over my computer. Or if I'm editing, I edit with my iPad, so I'm hunched over my iPad. But at least try to get some movement in the mornings. So yeah. Let's see. Oh, Sherry says, it's refreshing to see younger women and girls take up quilting, or any craft for that matter. Wish my daughter-in-laws and granddaughters would take an interest. Yeah, it's just it's kind of got to be their idea, right? It's hard to try to force someone to try something, especially if it's something creative. You can't really force someone to like it. So, but just keep doing what you're doing. I would say just keep doing what you're doing. And maybe one day they'll kind of be like, hey, Mom, could you show me how to do that? Or, hey, Grandma, what are you doing? What are you working on there? You never know. It might happen. So, yeah, I know what you mean. I've tried to talk family members I've tried to get my mom to sew. I've tried to get my sister to sew, and they're just not interested. and well, that's okay. That's okay. I can be the only quilting nerd in the family. That's fine. But yeah. Oh, Anna asked a good question. How are you keeping your strips from curving? I've heard to sew one strip, turn around, and sew the other strip. So that's a really good question. So when I'm sewing these, I mean, there is no tension. I'm not allowing any tension to be there for my feed dogs to be pulling through. And I've got the tension set up correctly with my presser foot tension, with my thread tension. So there's nothing is fighting against something else with the machine. I think a lot of times when people get curves, if they're sewing strips together, is that something's funky with the tension, or they're either pulling the fabric towards them or pulling it through the machine. You got to let the feed dogs kind of just do what they do, right? So I think that's probably what happens. Now, I will say, if you saw my video maybe like a month ago, maybe longer, when I made a jelly roll tote bag, and I was sewing strips together that also had batting in the middle, my end piece did turn out very curved. And that was a whoopsie on my part. I should have done the thing where you switch them around. But yeah, that I did have an issue with that. And I'm, now that you mention it, I'm not sure why that happens, but I've never had an issue with just strips being sewn together having a curve unless the tension is messed up. So that's what I have to say about that. Okay. Krista asks, does your strip sets ever get wonky sewing on the same end repeatedly? Oh yeah, she was just talking about the same thing. I haven't had an issue with that. Now, if you know that tends to be an issue, then you can definitely switch it around. But I haven't had that issue. So I just try to make sure that there is absolutely no tension, and that I kind of lift the fabric up here so the machine isn't having to pull it from lower, if that makes sense. So the fabric isn't hanging off of my table. I kind of have it lifted. I think that's probably what helps quite a bit too. And then I just guide it through. So my hands aren't actually pulling it all, not pulling the fabric at all. All I'm doing is guiding it. Okay. Deborah asks, Miriam, your table seems to be really sturdy with your fast machine. What kind of table are you sewing on? Oh, that's a good question. So many good questions today. And I'm actually able to kind of focus on what I'm doing too. So this table I got at IKEA back when I lived in Minnesota. So this was probably 10 years ago. I think I've probably had this table for 10 years. That's crazy. I hadn't realized that. But and it was meant to be like an outdoor dining table. Basically at IKEA, it was really cheap. It was like in the clearance section. And I think it was like $100. And the tabletop is much smaller than what I have right now. So, and it's like a regular height dining table. But my dad helped me actually. Well, he did it. I stood there when he did it. But he added legs, like longer legs onto it, so it would be tall enough for me to stand at, because I wanted a standing table. So he added taller legs for me, and then he also gave me a piece of, I think this is MDF board that is much larger. This board is, I think it's like 4 foot by 5 foot or something like that. It's a really big tabletop. And I just have that sitting just on top of the original tabletop. So that's what it is. So it's just been sturdy for 10 years, and it's gone through all of my quilting with me, and yeah, pretty cool. Oh, Sherry, I walk 3 to 3.5 miles at work. That's great. Good for you. That's really good. That's really good. Oh my goodness. Rowena says, my old featherweight shook so much when I sewed that the watch registered it as steps. 25,000 steps in one day. I took it in for servicing. Wow, that's crazy. That would be a record. That's a lot of steps. I think that'd be like 12 miles. That is definitely a lot of steps. All right, I am getting close to the end of this one. Let's see. Kimberly asks, what piqued your interest to begin quilting? As far as I can remember, this was like 8 years ago, eight and a half years ago or so. I had recently moved here to Missouri. And like I said earlier, I had been trying to find a craft that I could get into and that I could, really like and enjoy. And when I moved here to Missouri, I noticed that there were a lot of quilters. A lot of like small town quilt shops. If you went, I like to go antiquing. If you go to an antiques shop down here, there's quilts everywhere. And I just thought, wow, that is so cool. These quilts have like stood the test of time. Like these quilts are over 100 years and over 100 years old, and they still look great. And I just thought, whoa, that's interesting. So I think it was around my birthday or Christmas or something, because I asked my parents for a sewing machine, and they got me a really cheap Singer on Black Friday. I think it was like $75 or something. And I went to Joann's and bought some flannel and just cut it up into little rectangles and sewed it together, and I was hooked. That was it. And one more. And yeah, so that's kind of, I think I just was seeing it everywhere here down in Missouri, and I was just like, well, I might as well give it a shot. And I hadn't sewed anything since junior high home ec, and that was a disaster. My teacher only passed me because I did the project. She told me so. She's like, well, Miriam, I'm gonna give you a C-. You're gonna get a passing grade, but this was not very good. Like nothing was straight, and there were no straight seams. I made a skirt, and it was just awful. I don't even know if I hemmed it correctly. And there was like elastic in the waistband, and the elastic was like coming out in spots. It was just so bad. It was so bad. And I just thought, like, well, sewing's not for me. And I went on with my life until I was 26 or so. 26? Yeah, that's right. So, yeah, that's how I got started. Okay, Krista asks, is there certain quilting patterns you should use for different designs? Is there certain quilting patterns you should use for different designs? I'm not 100% sure if I understand what you mean. Do you mean like quilting, like either like straight line quilting or free motion quilting? Do you mean that sort of thing? Is that what you mean? Let me know. Yes, that's what you mean. No, I don't think so. There's no rules. So if you want to do straight line quilting, you can do straight line quilting on any quilt. If you want to do free motion quilting, you can do free motion quilting on any quilt. You know, it's all up to you. It's what you feel comfortable with doing and really what you want to do. So I personally like to do straight line quilting when I'm making more of a like a modern quilt pattern, right? So I usually like to do straight line quilting. That being said, I just made my cozy picnic quilt. If you guys know about that, I have a quilt pattern called Cozy Picnic, and I would call that a more modern looking quilt pattern. And I did free motion quilting on that. And I did like spirals on it. It's really cool. But so it's totally up to you. It's what you feel comfortable with doing. And yeah. I would say probably straight line quilting is easier. So if you're just starting out, then I'd say try some straight line quilting and get comfortable with that. And then if you feel like challenging yourself, jump in and try some free motion on maybe a smaller project first. It's just totally up to you and what you want to do. There's no rules. Yep. Deborah asks, so you're a self-taught quilter? Yeah. Yes. Very much so. I've never taken a class. I've never had anyone show me how to do anything. Obviously, I've learned from YouTube. I learned a lot from blogs also. If you guys know Susie Quilts, I learned a lot from her blog. She was pretty much the one that I would go to with a lot of stuff that I wanted to learn. And I learned a lot of stuff from her blog. So, yeah. And I like learning stuff and figuring stuff out on my own. So it worked perfect. It was the perfect obsession for me. Just junior high was not the right time for me to try to learn how to sew, I guess. My brain wasn't developed all the way. Hey, Annette. That's fine if you're late. Better late than never. It's all good. Do I have another live planned? Not yet. I haven't planned one out. I'm really not sure how often I should do one. So I don't know if I should do it like once a week or if I should go more for maybe a couple times a month. I don't know. I haven't kind of really thought about that yet. Oh, so many decisions. So much stuff to figure out. But yeah, I don't have one planned yet. So we'll see. I will never do a live just sporadically, probably, unless I have something that I really want to talk to you guys about last minute. but I'll try to announce a live at least a week ahead of time. So at least a week ahead of time, I'm going to try to do, because I know people have busy schedules and things and all that jazz. Let's see. Pam asks, do you pre-wash your fabric? I have, and I have not. So for me, I just don't, I haven't found a good reason to now. I did early on with a lot of quilts, but really, I don't really see a point for me personally, because I love a quilt crinkle. I like when you finish a quilt and you wash it, dry it, and you pull it out of the dryer, and it is like perfectly crinkled, and I just love the texture, and it just feels so cozy and nice. I like the look of it. So I think probably if you don't want that crinkle and you want to get the shrinkage out of the way, then I would go ahead and pre-wash. Also, I just don't like pre-washing because it's like extra steps, because then you have to press everything, because everything ends up getting so wrinkled. I don't know if anybody has a tip for how not to get super wrinkled fabric when you wash it, when you do like a pre-wash. But yeah, it would get so wrinkled, and then I'd have to press it, and I'd always get like all the fraying would end up in a big wad all together. And yeah, I was not a fan of pre-washing. But I know lots of quilters do pre-wash. They swear by it, and that's fine. So you just kind of got to figure out what works for you and what you like. So let's see. KC asks, when you press your fabric, do you use steam or water or anything? So when I press, it kind of depends on what I'm pressing and if it's being a little booger or not. If I have issues with getting a wrinkle out, or if I want my seams to lay really flat, I will use a little bit of steam, or I like to sometimes use Best Press. That's a spray. I have a bottle here just in case you don't know what it is. Oh my goodness. So I've got Best Press. It's like a starching spray kind of. So it'll get your fabric a little stiff as well. So know that. But that really helps get out stubborn wrinkles, or if you want everything to lay really nice and flat, like I would use this. Or steam. Steam works also. But yeah, just kind of depends on what I'm working on. Diane asks, what are you working on? Well, today in this video, I don't know if you've been here, but I'm working on the Gingham Square Dance quilt that I designed. This is a free pattern that I released. So that's what I'm working on in this video today. And then aside from this, right now, currently, I'm working on a custom quilt that I'm working on for a customer that I haven't made a custom quilt for anyone for a couple of years. So that's really fun. I just started working on that this week. I got it all designed up in EQ8 for her, and got all the fabric cut earlier today. So that's what I'm working on. I've got all the fabric boxed up now. I'm not going to show you guys right now, but I will probably do a video on it. I got her permission to make a video about it and stuff. So I might do that later on. But yeah, that's what I'm working on. I'm also working on the alphabet quilt pattern. Oh my goodness, that's taking quite a bit of time, because it's going to be a pretty big pattern because I'm explaining how to make each letter, but it's going to be so cool because you're going to be able to make so many different things with the alphabet. So I'm making like patchwork alphabet letters. So I did this free pattern with the word so before. And I decided that was so much fun. I'd make an entire pattern with the full alphabet. Whoops. But that's taking time. So I'm working on that also. So behind the scenes computer work. Very fun. Right? All right. Ooh, we're getting some questions thrown in here now. All right. When you wash your quilt, does your washer have an agitator? That's from Laura. Yes, it does. But if I'm washing a quilt, I wash on a gentle cycle. Gentle cycle, cold water, and a very gentle detergent. Because I usually glue-based, so I do use a detergent. But it's a very gentle detergent, unscented, all of that. And then when I dry on low heat. So unless I'm feeling crazy and I want a big crinkle, and then I'll do it on high heat. But I haven't really noticed that makes a big difference. Whether you do low or high heat, at least for me, I always use cotton batting, and that does have shrinkage. I do believe the shrinkage for cotton batting is usually 3 to 5%. But yeah, it does have the agitator. But like I said, I do a gentle cycle, and I've never had any issues with that. I know some washing machines have you can take the agitator out, which is really nice, but I don't have one of the fancy washing machines. So Kate Moore asks, do you start your fabric first? Sometimes. Sometimes I starch it. If I know it's going to have really picky wrinkles, then I will. But I don't starch all of my fabric. I know some quilters starch all of their fabric. And that could be helpful. But no, I don't. I don't. Let's see. Oh, Deborah's leaving. She has to go. Okay. Thanks for coming, Deborah. So much fun having you here. All right, Krista S. asks, how do we get the design you're working on? And are the strip sets a big block, or are you going to cut them? I would like to try this pattern. Okay, Krista, yes. So, is there a description box underneath this video? I think there is a description box under the video. There should be a link. I do believe I put it in there for the free Gingham Square Dance quilt. That's what it's called. If that's not there, I will grab the link and get it in here. But I think it should be underneath in the description box below. So okay, Kimberly asks, have you made a tutorial on how to make a memory quilt using men's ties? My grandfather passed a year ago, and I have all his ties. I have not. I haven't done any tutorials on memory quilt stuff. But that's a really great idea. I've made one quilt with ties. And this person wanted the tie intact, to stay a tie. So I basically just appliqued the ties onto a background fabric. And that was a really interesting quilt, because she had ties, she had silk scarves, and really fancy ones. So I was a little nervous working with silk. And she had some towels that her grandfather used. That was a weird quilt. But yeah, I've only worked with ties one time, and I basically just placed them on a background piece of fabric, pinned it in place, and then zigzag stitched it on the edge. and it was like appliqued on then. So that's all I've ever done with ties. So I might not be the best person for that tutorial because that's the only experience I have with them. But that it was really cute because it was like a whole tie just appliqued onto a quilt. I thought it was really cute anyways. Good night, Anne. Thank you for coming. Glenda asks, does pre-washing cut down on fraying after washing? Does pre-washing cut down on fraying after washing? You know, I don't know. When cutting. I don't know. That's an interesting question. I really don't know. Anne asks, do you use a clapper? I do not. Well, I take that back. I have used one in the past. When I worked for that company I talked about a while ago called Love Sew, they send me a clapper. They sent me a whole bunch of notions and tools and stuff to make videos for. But then when I told them that like I wasn't going to work for them anymore, they had me send all this stuff back, which was a little weird. I don't think I've ever heard of a company doing that before. But so I don't have a clapper anymore. And I did try it and it worked. It was kind of cool. But what I did do was last year I went to a garage sale and I bought this little mini cutting board. I've got it up here. And I've used it a few times. But it's just an old cutting board. I thought it was really cute. I liked the colors of the wood. And I've used this as a clapper before. Just place it on the seams and it helps them lay flat. And it was cheap. It was like $1 or something. So that's an idea. If you're thinking about getting a clapper, but they are kind of expensive. Old cutting board from a garage sale. It works. I am very frugal. So I use a lot of cheap stuff, but it works. So that's good. You don't have to have all the fancy doodahs and thingamabobs that some people like to say that you need. So anyways, so that's my clapper. Okay, good, Carissa. I'm glad you found it. Good. Excellent. Linda asks, do you have videos on your applique? Have I done videos on applique? I know I just did a video on making a little mini quilt. Here, I'll grab it real quick. It's right over here. So I just did a video. You know what? I'm actually going to stand up for a couple of minutes because my feet are killing me because they're like hanging off my chair. So I'm going to try to set this back up here. And I might start wrapping it up. We've been going for almost 2.5 hours. I'm getting a little tired. But I did make this applique quilt recently. And I made these little poodles. They're just cut out from fabric. And what I did was for these, I just used an Elmer's glue stick, glued them onto the patchwork, and then quilted over them. And then washed it. So that is what they look like. So they're raw edge applique pieces. So they will fray a little bit as time goes on, but that's okay. I'm totally fine with that. I wanted to go for that look. I haven't done a lot of raw edge stuff, so I wanted to try it. You know, I don't know if I have any other applique tutorials. Now I'm thinking about it, which is weird because I've done a lot of applique in the past. So that's definitely something I should make. I should do some tutorials because I enjoy applique. It's fun. All right. Pat says, I've heard in various videos to steam or starch before cutting since it can shrink the fabric. It can also make it easier to handle. I think that it depends on the type of fabric and definitely your personal choice. I agree. 100%. It's going to be what you figure out that you like. Everybody has their own preferences in the way that they do things. And yeah, I don't know if I've ever noticed that fabric is actually shrunk from using steam. Well, I don't use steam that often. But yeah, that's interesting. But starch can definitely help the fabric be a little bit easier to work with because it kind of stiffens it up. So it's not as floppy then. So if you want to try it, you can. Okay, Deb says, if you pre-wash your fabrics, they will fray even worse because you washed out the sizing, which made the fabric smooth. You have to starch your fabric first, then cut. Okay, that makes sense. Oh, Glenda, thank you. She enjoyed watching the poodle video. I thought it was a lot of fun. It was really fun to make. I thought it was really cute. So, yeah, I like it. But, my goodness. Yep, Krista, you're right. Heat and bond would help with the fraying. I actually have, funny you should mention it. I have a bolt of it right here. So this is what I use for applique is Heat and Bond Light. And I buy a big bolt of it when it's on sale at Joann's. But yeah, I'm not sure why I didn't use it. I think I wanted to try just using the Elmer's glue stick because I hadn't tried that before for my applique. So that's why I didn't try the Heat and Bond. But Heat and Bond can help with the fraying. You were correct. Oh, Laura, you were welcome. She says, thank you for the poodle video because now I'm looking at stencils for free motion. Again, thanks. You are very welcome. How cool is that? How cool is that? I was so excited when I figured it out. I can't remember if I thought of it or if I saw it someplace. But yeah, it just is so cute. And like the possibilities are endless now. I keep on thinking of like what you could make because a lot of times people will show their quilts that they've gotten back from a long arm and it'll have kind of like some kind of cute meandery looking quilting, and then there'll be like a butterfly or a flower placed randomly around on the quilt. And I just thought that is so cute, but I feel like that would be a little difficult. And I'm not super confident in my drawing skills to just be able to draw something like that. But with these stencils, it makes it possible. So I actually ordered their dragonfly template and I think it's like a cherry blossom flower template. And I'm going to be trying those with quilting. And I'm really excited to try those because they're so cute. And yeah, that's just going to really elevate, regular free motion. And I'm very, very excited to try those. So yes, please give the video a thumbs up. It'll hopefully push this out to more people once it's posted. And I would really, really appreciate that, guys. Yeah. Wow. I went 2.5 hours. I was not planning on going this long, but this was really fun. I hope you guys had fun. My goodness. I didn't finish. Hold on. I have to finish this strip at least. But does anybody else have any other questions for me? Does anybody think of any questions? I'm happy to stay on and answer questions if you have them. So don't feel like you're being a bother if you have questions. There is our second set of strips. So cute. Oh, I like these. So cute. So I'm going to set that aside. Let's see. Oh, I'm so glad, Melissa. Good. Way to get your basting done. Very good. Sherry, yes. Sherry was telling me that she needed to, oops, my phone thinks I'm talking to it. She needed to, I needed to go long so she could make it to the live. And I was like, no way, I cannot talk that long. But apparently I can. So that's good. But, so this is my plan, guys, with this project. So our next live, I will do that sometime in early July. I'll let you know. I'll let you know at least a week ahead of time. I'll announce it in the video beforehand. I'll make a post here on YouTube in the Facebook group. So hopefully you'll know. So this is what I'm going to do. I am going to go in the quilt pattern, and I'm going to also piece the larger strips together, okay, into the strip chunks. So if you're working along with me, so I'm going to go ahead and make these 2 sets of strips also. And then in the next live, we will press the seams and then we will start cutting. And that's when the fun part really happens, because then we get to start putting the pieces together and you get to see the gingham pattern come together, right? So that is what we will work on in the next one. And we'll also do questions, of course, because I like answering questions. I think it's a lot of fun. So yes, were there any other questions? I just want to make sure I got everybody. Yes, Kathy, let's come back live and finish it up. We'll do that. Hold on before you guys leave. Do you like the evening live, or do I try an earlier one? What's everybody's thoughts? I'd kind of like to know that, if you don't mind. Because I don't mind doing the evening, but I'm very flexible. So I can do morning, afternoon. Okay, looks like evening is the popular time. Okay. Well, yeah. Evenings sound good. All right. Maybe try a little earlier in the evening. I don't know. Well, I'll figure it out. It'll be all right. But just thank you guys so much for joining me. This was so much fun. We actually got a little bit of sewing done, so that's good. I know last time, I think I got one person was like, less talking, more sewing. It's like, I'm sorry. I have a bunch of questions people sent in. I'm not going to not answer questions. So anyways, just thank you so much for coming, guys. I hope you have a great evening, a great rest of your week, and I'll be posting again on Friday. That's the plan. I've got a really exciting video to post on Friday. I cannot wait for you guys to see it. It's going to be very exciting for me. And hopefully you guys will be happy about it too. But anyways, have a lovely evening. I'm going to end it here, and I will talk to you guys very soon. All right? Bye-bye.